Hello and welcome to the Dog Savant podcast. My name is Brett Endies. I'm a professional dog trainer, and the reason for this podcast is to share my dog training experience with you if you are a dog or puppy owner, if you are a client in the real world seeking to supplement the work we are doing together, and of course, if you're just anyone interested in dog training, dog behavior, the life and rants of a professional dog trainer, this podcast is for you. I always ask, please, I don't see anyone really doing it, but don't forget to rate, review, share, subscribe, tell a friend, follow social media. At the Dog Savant, you can on iTunes, tell everyone how this show may have helped you. If you have any questions, reach out to me. And I also am available for online training via FaceTime and Zoom. And if you're in Colorado, I'm also available for local training, boarding and training, and boarding services. Okay, so with all that said, I really want to. I talk about this so often, and I allude to it even when it wasn't the specific topic of one of these podcasts. And if anyone's coming in here, we've done, I think now it's 95 episodes. Just look back if you have any specific topics that you're looking to learn more about, or to help with your dog's issues you may be experiencing, or just if you have a puppy and you want to learn some basics. I have a podcast episode addressing, in most cases, many times over, most of these subjects. But this is again something that I find is so common. I just want to harp on it, and if I talk about it, because a lot of this is just on the fly, just kind of a stream of consciousness type of podcast. Maybe I'll explain it in a way that may make more sense, or make it clear, or help you, where the same dogs are dogs, right? But the whole idea of how we interpret it is of utmost importance. So that's why a big part of what my job is getting people to kind of see it from their dog's point of view, so they can understand why, when, how to do the training, because a lot of times it just takes life of its own when you're understanding how a dog can get caught up in everyday life, because I am a problem behavior specialist. I help people raise their puppies in a way that would prevent problem behaviors down the road, of course, and some puppies are just more difficult than others. And what I'm going to talk about is usually more of a puppy issue, or a dog that as a puppy had this issue, and now we're dealing with an adult case of separation anxiety or strong reactivity. And I'm going to talk more about the home. This can carry over to other out in the world situations and social interactions. But again, I'm going to talk about the home, where just a lot of, especially puppies, get this issue where they're just, every time someone makes a move, when people present themselves, they enter a room, they show up, they're out in the street, and they run up, or the puppy runs up to them, and they encourage that. What people don't understand, and it's not like the way people, where it's like, hey, I'm just excited to see you. Okay, I can turn it off. We're cool now. Dogs, it's more sensory, and what happens is that with especially certain dogs that are wired to be very reactive to stimuli, what we think is we're just petting them and socializing them and showing them love, and we're enthusiastic because puppies are so darn cute, which I agree with. It's just getting this kind of twitchiness in a dog, where every time someone moves, especially in the home environment, it's like, okay, I gotta move, I gotta follow. And I always talk about that, what's next? I was waiting for the next shoe to fall. And it's a lot of times this cling, it's like almost like one magnet moves and the other magnet's gotta follow, and stay within proximity. And that's what happens, where a lot of puppies now, when you try to use the crate for downtime, of course, for potty training, just to give them a nice, quiet, secure place, it becomes almost contrary to what they feel is happening when they're actually out in the environment, right? So if it's like, well, every time a person makes a move, I'm following them, I'm moving around whenever I want, there's no direction, even within the house, going room to room, for a lot of puppies and dogs, they need specific direction. This is how we go from the living room to the kitchen. Now that we're in the kitchen, this is what you do. That's why I implement place training in the majority of my cases to get started, because it creates that very specific order. And a lot of puppies, just for their ability to just be calm while life is going on around them, because they get so easily overstimulated, they need the calming kind of it's creating an island, letting them be kind of more observant to the environment instead of reactive, because even them just following you too much, or when you sit on the couch, they run up to you and you pet them, or something, oh, I'll just ignore my dog. They're still doing it, and that accomplishment is just developing a habit that it can lead to separation anxiety. It can lead to overreactions when they see somebody. Oh, now someone's at the door. If I'm just following you around the house casually, I'm going to really step it up a notch. And then you get these reactions to greetings, jumping, it runs the gamut. So you want to just have your dog, if there's an issue, they can't just chill. And some dogs, my daughter got a puppy last month, very chill puppy. It requires only place training on certain transitions for food before we're going to do something new. But certain puppies I see, it's like, well, every time they're out of the crate, they need to be on a leash, they need to be in their place, and then use the crate interchangeably with that throughout the day. So, for potty training, but also so they get used to it. But, getting back to the crate end of it, it's not like, oh, I'll just put them in the crate and ignore them until they stop barking. Yeah, that's a piece of it, and you need to do that so they don't learn that by barking they get what they want, so they're not, really having a need that has to be accommodated. But a lot of times it's like, well, why are you locking me in this box? And I hear a lot of people say, oh, you know what, like the dogs only react, at night they're fine in the crate. It's just during the day or when we're moving around or we go to another room. Well, there you go. See the connection. It goes from a dog who's just on the case, meaning following you, reacting, and we could be not even realizing it, or we encourage it because everyone I see loves a puppy. And I've instructed many a person, out in public working with clients, well, this puppy needs to be calm before you pet it. We're training it to be sitting, not jumping, please. And they just, they get all worked up. So I understand what our natural instinct as humans makes us do a lot of times with puppies, but we got to rise above that to be able to handle what our young dog needs, because impulse control is not their strong suit. So we can be more conscious to help them be more conscious by stepping in and doing training. And it's always as preventatively as possible. That's why we're not waiting for our dogs to have issues and then try to react, because it's already, it's like, well, why did this go too far in the first place? And that's where a lot of the training I teach is a preemptive approach, not what do I do when my dog does blank, which there's always something you have to do after the fact, but don't rely on that. Rely on teaching a dog better skills to not do this in the first place. Okay, so again, that's really what I want to talk about, is just that a lot of dogs, and it's also a solution to just even resolving adult behavioral issues like separation anxiety. Dogs, that have issues on the walk, I use this structure in general to give them more guidance, so commands and calmer states can help them transition through life. And a big thing, people's like, well, why has my dog always got to be on a leash in a crate? First of all, this is never forever if you're consistent and you make it a clear, very thorough, holistic approach. You cover every base. Also, make sure your dog's getting enough exercise and all that, because just like people, a lot of times we're sedentary, we're working, children go to school, but then we have to schedule our recess exercise, social time, and that all should be all part of the day, and you got to take the time to do that. You need to walk your dog or puppy, you need to take them to get exercise, to socialize with other dogs, but then once that's covered, it's about calm conditioning in an environment where if they get overstimulated, it leads to other issues. And again, if we're talking about just what, because I have a lot of puppy cases right now we're working on, with all of my online clients I've been doing, lately. And what's going on is a lot of times, because a lot of people are home now because of the COVID issue, and I think that there's even less ability for a dog to be able to just have their downtime. And a lot of times we're excited, like, I don't want to put the puppy away, I want to enjoy it all day. I get it, but you're going to have to just take the time and be more disciplined and just realize that you've got 12, 14, 16, who knows how long they're going to have dogs, because of veterinary medicine improving, so whatever. Why not put a month or two, even a couple weeks in a lot of cases, into just getting your dog balanced in everyday life, getting the crate push. And then a lot of people, what happens is they don't understand the connection. So they're like, well, I do the crate, my dog's freaking out, I can't handle it. I think my dog's getting traumatized or is going to get hurt or in distress. And it's like, well, again, it might not be all a crate issue. It's the crate is the opposite of what the dog feels gets their needs met. And that's the other thing it just kind of came to me is, it's not just the accomplishment. Sure, if a dog's used to one thing and then they go on a crate part-time from that, a lot of times it just doesn't make sense why there's such a contrast. But a lot of times the puppy or dog thinks that, like, well, by following you in a house and zipping around and running up to you and getting excited for things, I get fed, I get attention, I get to live another day, I get sheltered. I get rewarded for that. What now that I'm in a crate, am I going to die? Because they can't see the big picture. It's hard for them to link up the connection until they can see, it complementary when they're not in the crate. That goes back to place training and having them on the leash more and leading them from room to room and having them stay put at times. A tether is a really wonderful tool to use, just to have a puppy stay in one place. It's not mean, it's just setting them up for a calmer way to make choices down the road as an adult. It helps with potty training because it keeps them in one spot, which limits their ability to go off and have the accidents where they can hide it from everything else. And then it's just building commands. It makes obedience skills stronger for down the road. When you want your dog to listen to other things. So I always say this, and I say it in many a podcast. If your dog can't listen in your living room holding a 6-foot leash, how are you going to get them to, or expect them to come when you call them? 100 feet away, they're running after a squirrel, and they're off. It's just not going to happen. So you got to really work on one thing, even just for the obedience. If we're not talking about behaviors and separation anxiety and potty training and crate issues, we're just talking straight, hey, I want my dog to listen when they're an adult in real world situations, or real world is your living room to start. So hear that what I'm saying, and I did this purposely too, to all of, because I pass these podcasts on obviously to my clients if it's a subject that I think is going to help them. And this is one very, very important that I get a lot of, we talk about in our sessions. I get this question, this issue with why is my puppy or dog fighting the crate or not liking when I leave the room or won't stay in their place. It's because at times they're not having that experience, and now when you're asking them to listen, it's not how they feel they're getting their needs met. So I hope if you're a client listening to this was helpful. I really try to articulate this in so many different ways so it can kind of hit you the right way. So it's like, oh yeah, I get it. I see what's going on here. Because once you do, like I said earlier, it takes a life of its own. So I think we'll leave it at that. Again, thank you. Please don't forget to rate, review, share, subscribe. Reach out to me. My email is info@thedogsavant.com or dogtrainingla@gmail.com. At the Dog Savant, you can contact me or follow me. And again, don't forget to review, share, and subscribe to this podcast. It really, I see it. It helps other people find it. I like seeing this because it motivates me to want to keep putting the info out there. But we're coming up on 100 episodes. So I want to just keep this rolling, but it really would help me. And I also do have a Patreon page, even though it really doesn't do, I don't think anyone's ever subscribed, but it's patreon.com/thedogsavant. And again, if you're interested in online training, reach out to me and I'd be happy to help you any way I can. All right, thanks again, and just don't forget, don't let your puppy be too free too soon. Have a good day.